welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle G, and today I wanted to share some resources that I've used to transfer my family into gluten-free living and eating. My 4-year-old is a celiac. She was diagnosed at 3.5, so we've slowly started the transition of going gluten-free, and these are some of the things I used that helped, that made it a little easier. I have websites, I have apps, and I have some book resources. So the websites will be linked down below for you to check them out. So first is websites. Beyond Celiac. The dietitian, I believe we saw, recommended this. This is how I found it, but it's great. It goes over symptoms, what to look for, diagnosis, how they diagnose it, what you can do, where you can find doctors. They also have a section called Living with Celiac, which I thought was good. How to talk to family members about it, how to deal with the school system, how as a parent you can help navigate this new road you're taking. They also have reading food labels, what all those gluten-free food labels now mean that you have to constantly be staring at. So I found that really helpful. They also have a news section, which I really like, celiac and gluten-free in the news. Most recently, they had articles about COVID and how that impacts our celiacs more at risk, how the vaccines work with celiac, are there any gluten-containing ingredients in the COVID vaccine. So I thought that was useful. I signed up for their newsletters, so I do get email every once in a while, it's not a lot, about news, things going on, new apps to check out, and that's how I found some of the apps I use. One article I really liked they had is a recent study came out linking celiac disease and ADHD in children, which I thought was interesting, and there's a correlation. And again, check out the article if you want to look more into that, but I found it a good way to keep up to date with what's going on research-wise, news, things coming out. And let's see, for bloggers and food things, I like the website Fed and Fit. It has gluten and dairy-free options, which I appreciate because I myself do not consume dairy and soy. My 11-month-old is sensitive to those things. I'm breastfeeding, so I don't eat them. But it's a lot of easy ingredients, nothing too complicated, really great food. I used her Thanksgiving menu planner and recipes for this Thanksgiving. It was our first holiday going gluten-free, so it was a little overwhelming, but it really helped. I used her green bean casserole, which was fantastic, easy to make. I could easily make it dairy-free. She offers a lot of substitutes if you have other allergies, or just the plain recipe if you want to make that. They're very workable recipes, which I appreciate. We did the sweet potato casserole for Thanksgiving, which was also great. And for dessert, I made her pumpkin pie, and it tasted great. It was awesome. Like, no different than regular pumpkin pie I would consume, and the gluten-free tasted just as good. So I'll link her website down below too. And as far as apps, I will put up a picture for you guys of the apps I'm using. So the first is GF, the gluten-free scanner. I use this when grocery shopping. I found it really useful first starting out. I've also recommended it to family members who, for example, my sister wanted to get my daughter some candy in her Christmas stocking this year, and she wasn't sure what was okay, so I said, hey, download this app, it'll help. So what you do is you just scan in product, because all the products have a little barcode on the back of them, and they're not all in there, but there's a lot in there, and it tells you if the product may or may not contain gluten. And of course, read your labels, do your research, don't solely, depend on this app to tell you whether or not something has gluten in it, because you're the best judge of that. And if you're ever in question, call the manufacturer. I know it's a hassle, but it's better to be safe. But it gives you a baseline. So when you're looking at that aisle of food, you're not so overwhelmed knowing that you have some options, and it's a little quicker in the grocery store, so you're not spending 45 minutes in one aisle looking at one product. But again, you just scan the object, it'll tell you if it may contain gluten or may not contain gluten. So I found that really helpful when grocery shopping, and again with family members, especially grandparents. I find that that's helpful too. The second app I actually got emailed about from Beyond Celiac in my newsletter, so I was pretty excited about that. And this one, it's similar. You scan the product barcode and it will tell you, again, I'll insert a picture here, it'll tell you if it may contain gluten. What I specifically like about this one though, it will pinpoint which items may contain gluten. So example, cornstarch, you need to know where it's derived from. And it will tell you on there, this could be a potential gluten containing ingredient. You need to make sure it either says gluten-free, you need to contact the manufacturer, or it needs to tell you where the source is derived for on the label. So I really appreciate that. You can also just put in the name of something if you're curious about it, if it doesn't have a barcode. And with the original gluten-free scanner, the red one I use, you can also type in something. And there is a full version and a free version of the gluten-free scanner. And I have both, and honestly, there's not a big difference between the two, so I would go with the free. Spoonful is also free. It's detailed. I like them. I use them both. Makes grocery shopping a lot easier. Helpful for family and friends if they don't know what they can give you or your children. So those are the apps I use. And let's see, books. So gluten-free cooking, that's a big one, right? You gotta make all your meals. So I use a couple different things. I think the library is an awesome resource. They have hundreds of books on gluten-free food and eating and all that. So I encourage you to check out your local library. They also have, if your library doesn't have something specific, a lot of libraries will give you the option of borrowing from other libraries, and they'll have it sent to your library. So look into that. I know our library does it for the entire county. If any of the libraries in that county have the specific book you want, they'll send it over to your library and you can pick it up there, which is really awesome. And especially with gluten-free cookbooks, you want to be careful because a lot of them can be overwhelming or confusing. Some of them require weird ingredients you've never heard of, or 3 different flour blends to make your own flour blend, and xanthan gum, and all these things, and it can be overwhelming. So going out and buying cookbooks right away, probably not the best choice because you might end up wasting your time and your money. So really, it lets you feel out recipes and what you like and what you can do without putting the money forward for it. So I really appreciate the library and the resources they have there. One book I have purchased myself is from the blog Fed and Fit. She has a cookbook, Cook Once, Eat All Week. And this is based on batch cooking and meal prepping, but I really just prefer the recipes in it. Again, it has gluten-free, dairy-free, other allergy substitutes you can do. And I just use the recipes out of it. But I did purchase that because I like the adaptability of the recipes. They're simple, easy, meant for families. So yeah. And another book I would use, this was specifically for my daughter when she was diagnosed with celiac. My sister-in-law actually sent this to us, and I'll link it down below with Amazon. It's Gluten-Free is Part of Me. It's a kid's book. And what I really like about this is, especially since my daughter was diagnosed at 3.5, it's difficult at that age to really explain to them what's going on with their body. So this book goes over, this little girl eating, and it's very rhymey and it's cute, that certain foods make her feel icky. And what I really liked about the book is it specifically said, it makes me moody, which was one of the symptoms my daughter had. So it affects your behavior, and it says, this is okay. This is what happens to your body when you eat these foods. It also goes over kind of how isolating it can be for children, especially birthday parties or school, when you can't eat certain things. But then the book goes into describing how everybody has something they're dealing with. Some people wear glasses, some people wear hearing aids, some people can't eat nuts, some people are allergic to trees. That everybody has different things going on. And we all have different things, and it's okay to be different, and it's okay to have those things. So I really appreciate that. My daughter loves the book. She quotes it. One other thing I really like about it is it talks about the GF label, especially at a young age. You want them to be able to recognize things and be their own advocate, because one day they're going to be out there doing this themselves. So it goes over how GF is on the label. It can be on my table, which I really appreciate, introducing those concepts at a young age. And then it just talks about, advocating for yourself. So if someone tries to give you something, you have to say, thank you, but no, I can't have it unless it's gluten-free, and then you have your own treat. And then it just pretty much ends by saying, yes, I'm gluten-free, but it's only a tiny part of me. Because there's so much more to your child than just being gluten-free. So, excellent resource. I highly recommend it for children. Even my 7-year-old enjoys the book, so it goes into a little detail about what it's like to be celiac and what it is and what it means for your body, and that it's okay to be different. So I hope these resources helped you guys. And again, I'll link everything I can below. I'll have pictures up when I can. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Hope it was helpful. Bye.